Alright guys, today's flip through we're going to start taking a look at the Witcher role-playing game. I have not totally read the rules yet. I know enough to know a little bit about the background, the setting, things of that nature. We're going to dive in a little bit more in the future. In some ways, this is my first look at the book as well it is hopefully yours. This is, like, again, not a full review. So, inside what you're going to find is you're going to find the table of contents, the cast, the crew, all that good stuff, who play tested, who did the layout, all of those things. What I do know is that in this book, or at least this part of the series, the core rules start you off around the time of Witcher 3, which I have not played, so I'm not totally sure. And while I understand from what little I read that you can play a Witcher, here's kind of a good example of the art you're going to get. This is the map. While you can play a Witcher, you're not playing Geralt, nor are you playing a Witcher as renowned as Geralt, so you're going to have a lot of different things happen. You do have the NPCs of Yennefer and Geralt, with their stats, their abilities, all that, their little bit of background information. Dandelion, Zoltan, Triss, Vernon, did I say that right? Yeah. Vernon, Lorveth, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, Letho of Gullet. So these are all possible things. Now, by the time you get to page 20, you're already into creating your own character and using the setting, these different charts and things to pick the race of the character you might be playing. So the very first thing you do is, what is a character? They have a little definition of what is a character. And I think I'll take the moment here and say that this is not D&D and this is not Pathfinder. It's a totally different independent system from that. It's not D20. You use D10s and D6s to do everything. It's not as simple as some of the predecessors of D&D and Pathfinder, and it's not as crunchy as Pathfinder 2e or D&D 5e. Creating character is a 7-step process. Here is the different, well, this is not the different races, but it talks about their social standings. Here is the territory that the races live in, the differences in their standings. So if you're an elf and you're in the north, you're pretty much hated, and things down that line. I am just now starting to play Witcher on the Xbox, so I don't know the tension between all the races and everything, but it is something that, as a kid, when we played Dungeons and Dragons, because that's what was out and that's what we played, I remember dwarves hated elves and blah 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 blah, but the NPCs, or the player characters I should say, were much more like the tension that was in Lord of the Rings, but not nearly as successful. So by the time Lord of the Rings was over, they were friends. And they played it well to do that. There was a lot of change and tension and joking around and camaraderie. So after you've picked your race and you get your perks and things from it, we come to what is called life path. I'm going to zoom in. And basically, life path is your background. It tells you where you grew up, what kind of environment you lived in, the people around you, what they were like, and even the skills that you learned. This gets quite detailed with charts, so we'll just look at parental fate real quick. If you rolled that something happened to your parents over the course of your life, roll on this table. So we'll just randomly pick that you were from the north, and right here, 6. One or more of your parents were killed by monsters, It is your decision as what they may have fallen prey to. And I'm sure there are a lot of things that you can pick from in this book. And then there's a family status, the influential status. And then after that, you get into life events. After you figured out how you grew up and found your niche, you find out what happened to you, and you roll a d10. I'm going to use a d20 and just divide it by 2, so an 8. 8 to 10, romance. So you come over here, fortune, misfortune. Oh, maybe you don't come over there. Roll a d10 on the table to determine what the most important event of that decade was. Oh, for every full 10 years, you roll one event. Wow. And then sometimes there's fortune and misfortune, and again, it's another random series of tables. Then you have allies and enemies, how close you are to people, who are they, enemies, romance. So there was a romance, and then you roll another d10. I rolled a 7. So basically, my romance was full of whores and debauchery. Oh, that was for love affair. My bad. But anyway, you get to roll on these tables and choose it, and then you have personal style. I suppose this is like your clothing and stuff. You probably can do this on your own. You don't need a random chart for this. And then the next step would be your profession, whether you're a bard, a craftsman, a criminal, a doctor, a man-at-arms, zoom out, a mage, merchant, priest, witcher. With this said, this is not a standalone game. You don't play this alone. You do need to create a party. So if you play a witcher, like I mentioned before, you're not playing someone like Geralt. You do not have the same skill and wisdom that he has. So you will get your butt handed to you if you attempt to play alone. Just a warning. And then you get your stats and your skills, which I've not looked into skills at all. I really find it awesome that the fluff part of the book was relatively short in the beginning, and they dove right into character creation. So far, we are at, well, 59, so page 60, roughly 40 pages on character creation, and it's laid out really well with a lot of the charts and the art. And then the different skill trees, it's very much like a video game. So, let's see here. Everybody probably wants to see Witcher or a Mage. So there's different degrees. Interesting. I'm going to have to take a look at this at a later date and come back over it. I do want to make character with you guys. I don't know if I'll get to do that before Gen Con this year, but that would be awesome. Maybe at Gen Con I'll make my first character so I know what I'm doing before I come and film a video. And then at 71 you start to buy into gear. There's all kinds of different gear types. So let's see here. Do I have the types? Is this easy, fast to do? Weapon accuracy. WA is weapon accuracy. Obviously weight. Possible enchantments. Things that's nature. There's different weapon effects over here. Some of the effects in the game are... We'll zoom in real quick. Ablating does 1d6 damage divided by 2 to the stopping power of armor if it penetrates it. Armor piercing, balanced, bleeding. A lot of these things are probably pretty simple to understand. Grappling, greater focus. When casting through this weapon, your spell's DCs are considered 2 points higher. Very cool. And just a way to get the magic into the game a little bit more. Weapon descriptions. I don't know how many pages there are. That probably a handful. 77. And then it goes into the different types of armor and how they work. And then there is the Elder Folk Armory, which has, it looks like, all these special weapons. And then the Elder Folk weapon descriptions, alchemical items, alchemical descriptions, armor enhancements, the different modes or types of transportation, not so much modes, toolkits, general gear. The book in itself is 336 pages, and it looks like 1/3 of it goes to building your character. At page 99, it gets into the, that's a great picture, by the way. It goes into magic in the world, and you are starting to learn about magic, the mage's spells, what they do, how much they cost to cast, their effects. And there is roughly, if you count the priest spells and the witcher's signs, in rituals, there looks like to be in the core book roughly 30 pages about the different descriptions, and it talks about places of power and how you learn magic in the game. And then it has the subsection on craftsmen and alchemists, the alchemy system, which the process for making your alchemical devices is determine if you have the formula, determine if you have the components, and make the roll. Let's see if there's a sample here we can do real easy. No. So here's all the different substances you can purchase. We can go over that at a later date when I get into it. And then it talks about combat. So the basics is there's a number of rounds that it takes to fight. There is initiative. Here, we can do this. We'll zoom in on this nice handy chart. There's a handful of actions you can do. So in your turn, you have enough time to move, distance equal to your speed in meters, and perform one action. Speaking is never considered an action except during verbal combat. So your actions that you can take: attack, initiate verbal combat, cast magic, use a skill to do something, or pick up or draw an item. Full round actions would be running, which is your speed times 3. You just spend the whole round dodging. You take the time to aim, or you take a recovery action, which basically is you taking your breath to regain stamina and recover. There's a small section down here on using miniatures. It's really small, it's short. If you're using miniatures on a grid map, keep in mind that each square is 2 meters. So if your speed stat is an odd number, round it up. Interesting. So real quick, let's look at what a speed stat is. So I opened it up to Geralt. His speed is 9. So he can move 5 squares, or 5 if you're talking miniatures. He's right there. My bad. I was off camera. His speed is 9, so he can move 9 meters as an action during his combat phase, or he can run, and then you would double it if you're playing on a hex map. Where is my... I'm going to use this real quick. I just got this from Gaming Paper. I opened it up. So if you're using this, I'm just going to go here like this real quick. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be how far he could run. Even though 5 would be 10, you round it up. That's really a healthy distance. It's also a little weird to me that each square is 2 meters. So instead of, well, I guess that's about the same size as a 5x5. Anyway, enough of that rant, because I just totally made myself a goofball. So a list of attack modifiers. There's a scatter chart, which probably is going to be a lot of fun. Vision and cones. Hopefully they have a little like overlay for that. If not, maybe I can make one. One of the neater things that I've noticed about the game is there's damage location charts. So that will be fun. I don't know if it slows down combat any or makes it healthier. There's a fumble table. There's a lot of tables in the game. I hope that doesn't take away from it. I wonder if they have... I'm uncertain as to whether or not they have a GM screen. But there's, at 166, you get into the magic resolution. There's mounted transportation and cavalry combat rolls and control rolls. And optional rules come before... before some of the monsters. It talks about some of the monsters that are susceptible to silver that are in the games, some that are susceptible to steel. It talks about adrenaline as an optional rule, and then it gets into verbal combat. And then the world of Witcher. This is starting at 179, and this is where you get into all of the background and cool reading of the sandbox that you're about to start playing in. Lots of art, and of course, with all the, and then it talks about the politics or the alliances. I guess politics is the right way to say that. And then it goes through the different Witchers: the wolf, the cat, the griffin, the viper, the bear. They're different, what do I want to call them? Animal medallions. And then it goes into the mages afterwards. And I actually really want to go and start watching some more Witcher on Netflix right now. This has really made me want to watch it. And then starting at 211, you get the Game Master's Guide. So in here, you've got a brief overview of what the Game Master does. How to handle certain things like invisible walls. They're saying, give better treasure, give better hints. They give you hints on romance and how to not make it weird, which is really good because a lot of role-playing games don't do that. How to beat the charts. And I would say that you can eventually evolve out of it. And then they give you a running Witcher overview, and this is where this is the part that is going to tell you this is not like a high fantasy game. This isn't epic. This is not something where it's you against them. This is actually something probably much more like trying to think, much more short story type of things. You're not going to go on a quest with a Witcher, at least most of the time in my opinion, and go from level 1 to level 20 doing the same adventure. You're going to have several different adventures that define your character by the time you're done. Then the book goes over making encounters, random rolls or random treasures, relics, and min-maxers. So min-maxers, popularity in games, highly unpopular. Simple definition: a player who spends hours, even days, reading through every bit of the source books. It gives you information on how to deal with that and why relics can't be crafted. And then there's a list of some good NPCs, campaigning, ways to get to your plot. They talk about the TV theory, when a player is gone, etc. Different types of curses, world states, the different states that are in the world, the life path, life as a Witcher, and I think then you get into gears, mutagens, experience runes. So the book is, wow. When you start getting back into the back of the book, it's a lot more about what you need and the information on what you need. The book is really well written. It has a good bit of beasts in the back. Ghouls, hags, wow, werewolves, sirens. What's next? I was kind of hoping there was a sample game in the back. Well, here you've got stats for birds, cats, and servants. But there does not appear to be one. Let's see here. And then to all a good night. So there is a sample adventure. It starts on 3/14, and this is why I wanted to see this part. So here's the narrative description, the rest of the story for the GM, the setting, the forces involved, who the opposition will be, another thing that you get to read aloud for the setup, the hook, which is what's supposed to draw your players in, how you develop the story, the cliffhanger portion. This is where, well, it's a cliffhanger, so that's where that happens. Then there's more development, another cliffhanger, development, and a cliffhanger. So, what I don't know is hook. Last week by now should be obvious. Okay, development. More players, whatever. Cliffhanger. So these are all, so the hook gets you to this first portion of development, and then from there it takes you here and you fight these bandits, and then whatever happens, this is how that develops, takes you to another cliffhanger until the storyline is done. And the climax, obviously, is at the very end. And then you have Lord Norwalk, Crucible Cowl. You have a couple of different maps for random village homes, a cave, the dungeon, cellar, the manor house, a character sheet that is 2 pages, 3 pages. Wow, there's a lot to the character sheets. I wonder if there's an online, and the index. So, and then in the back you have the little bit of information about the authors, which is Cody and Lisa. Well, there you have it, guys. The Witcher. It is not the book that is the easiest, it's not one that you get tons and tons of art on. It is part of the Witcher IP, so you are playing in a sandbox around Witcher 3. What do I think of it? Well, I haven't got to play the game yet. I am looking forward to something that's different than just D20-esque. And this game might be the game because I do like it a lot. And, well, it ties to my lineage. I'm Polish, and it's Polish folklore for the most part, which I thought was cool. And I do like the show and the game. So, I will let you know how character creation goes in the near future. I will let you know how my first game goes. Hopefully around September is when we're planning on playing. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Hi, guys. Meet the Nibbles, who's gonna go down. She just decided not to go down my back, so we'll do this for her so she's comfy. Thanks for watching my video, and I appreciate it. Please hit the like button. And share it if you know somebody who might be interested. And of course, there's always Twitter and the Facebook thingy, and soon I have a newsletter coming. That'll be down there or in a link below, and my kitty cat loves that idea. So anyway, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, subscribe. Be a part of my community, our community. Let's make it grow together. See you guys at a con somewhere, or a local store, or if I'm driving through the country and maybe a game club. I don't know, you're not going to go knock down my camera. Bye, guys.